If I woke up 10 kilos heavier tomorrow and wanted to lose it as fast as possible without hating my life, this is exactly what I'd do. I'm gonna show you how I'd eat, how I'd train, how I'd move, and how I'd handle weekends. We're doing this using my simplicity hierarchy. So grab yourself a coffee, get your notes out or a little pad and pen, and I promise you're gonna be able to copy this exactly to your specific goal as well. So whether you wanna lose 5, 10, 20, 40, 50, this is exactly the structure you need to get started. So let's get stuck in. First thing on the simplicity hierarchy is calories, and second thing is protein. So we're gonna figure those out right now, and then we're gonna head to the shops because that's where it all starts. We got Cameraman Cooks with us today, so it's gonna be a good one. The calculator you're seeing on screen now, I'll link it in the caption for you. You don't have to use this, but it's just gonna be the fastest way to figure out your calories. So I was about to put age 29. Old boy, 31 now, damn. Anyways, let's just keep going. All right, we're gonna chuck in weight. So I'm currently 76. If I woke up 10 kilos heavier, I'd be 86 kilos. Now this part is very important. Set your activity level correctly. This is where if you overestimate it, your calories will start too high. And that's why if you've ever done this before and then started tracking and you're like, this isn't really working, or the progress is super slow, chances are you've set your activity level too high. So I'm gonna go moderate, even though I probably could go active. So you'll see here on active, it says daily exercise or intense exercise 4 to 5 times a week in a very active job. Now, although I do train 5 or 6 times a week, 3 weights, 2 to 3 MMA sessions, which is intense, I'm still not gonna click that because I don't have an active job. I sit at a desk. So although the steps are probably reasonably high as well, I'm gonna go moderate. If you're unsure, you're better to go one lower than one higher. It's only gonna put you into a bit of a bigger deficit, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I'm gonna click moderate. I'm gonna come down. You're gonna select your goal, lose weight. And then you can see here, it's set my calories, 2,232, fats at 62, protein 167, and carbs 251. Now, only thing I want you to focus on in the simplicity hierarchy, we're gonna go in the order of most importance throughout this entire day. So first is calories and second is protein. So I'm really just gonna focus on 2232. I'm just gonna round it to about 2200-ish. And protein 167, again, I'm just gonna round it up or down. So you can go a bit higher than the number it gives you. You can go a bit lower if you want to, but that's what we're gonna do to get started. All right, now, next thing, before we hit the shops, we're gonna build a simple meal plan. We're gonna build at least one. You can build 2 or 3 if you want to. Now, I'm just gonna use my coaching software because it's exactly what I built it for. You don't have to have this. You can build it on like MyFitnessPal. You can build it on any calorie tracking app you like. You can honestly just build it in your notes of your phone. And I'm gonna give you all the meals we're eating today so you can copy those if you want to, and it will get you started. So what we wanna do is I'm gonna quickly just change my macros to what the calculator told me to do, because right now in here, we have some dummy data. So I'm just gonna round the protein up to 170. Cool, I'm just gonna slightly round them, make it easier. Beautiful, so calories, 2,220, 170 protein, 60 fat, 250 carbs. To save time, I've quickly whipped up the meal plan that I'm gonna be following here to drop this 10 kilos off. Now, as you can see, my goal calories were 2,220. The calculator actually gave me 2,230. So this is where like, don't stress about being perfect. And as you can see with my macros, they don't have to be spot on. I'll give you a few simple guides. So of course we need to stay within the calories and protein to a degree, but you want to build it around foods that you're actually going to, number one, enjoy. Number two, are going to be filling, which we're going to get to all this later as well, but also you're going to be able to stick to. So that's the main thing. You're better off building something you can stick to rather than like perfect macros, if that makes sense. So as you can see, my calories are 2,256. So they're only, less than 30 out of what the target said. Totally fine. As you can see, the protein was 170, but I've gone over by 5 grams, no big deal. Carbs a little bit higher, fats a little bit lower. It's no biggie. As long as your fats don't go below half your body weight, you'll be totally sweet. So if I'm 86 kilos, because I've put on 10, then 43 grams would be the lowest I'd want to go. I've got 53 grams in this meal plan, so totally fine. So we've got blueberry and peanut butter protein oats for breakfast. Literally the thing I've been eating for a decade. It is the goat of just everything.
You know, you know.
If you know, you know. And if you don't, you will soon. Lunch, we're going mince fajitas, so we're changing up a little bit. I'll run through the shops while we're getting these things. Dinner, we're going barbecue chicken pizza. So as you can see, the meals, not boring chicken and rice, just the same plain old shit every single meal. We're gonna change it up. And then for snacks, we're going a Ninja Creamy ice cream. This one says Rockaby, but I've actually tweaked that a little bit. I'll show you why. Another piece of fruit, mandarin, and then just a Chobani Fit yogurt throughout the day. So I've got 3 meals, a little snack, and a dessert. This is gonna keep me super satisfied, and it's gonna make it as easy as possible to stick to. So with that being said, let's hit the shops. Number 3 on the simplicity hierarchy is consistency. The reason why we built that meal plan before we came is so we can just get the items we need and nothing else, because that's one of the biggest struggles that we see with clients and just people in general is when you buy just a bunch of random shit. Like if you just come to the shop and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna get this and then I'm gonna get that. Then when you get home, you got no plan. And then you, not only is it overwhelming, confusing, and more time consuming because you have to figure it all out from scratch, but it's so much harder to stick to because because me and Cameron Cooks were just walking through like, well, that looks good. Wait, that looks good. It's like, no, just stick to the plan.
When you're hungry, hey,
and when literally it's so true. When you're hungry, do not come shopping for your food. Eat something before you go. So anyway, we got the salads, we got the chicken, we got the protein sauces. We're just gonna grab a few other things and then we'll be good to go. So yeah, smash it out. For the Ninja Creamy, these are absolute hack. I used to just buy those ones, but now Oak have these. It's like $8-9. You can get salted caramel. I personally like the chocolate one. And this gets you like 4 or 5 creamies. Actually, with the plan that we're on, it gets you 5. So it's super cheap. Another reason why we build the meal plan first and we follow the hierarchy in this order, calories, then protein, and then consistency, is because if you just have the same simple, repeatable meals on an ongoing basis, it's gonna help with the consistency. If you feel like you struggle to stick to a plan or you struggle with the consistency of following calories and protein and macros, it's probably because you're changing your foods up too much. And that just makes it like very time consuming, very overwhelming. And as you'll see in a minute, this is only half the stuff. I've already got some of the stuff at home and this is for one day. So sometimes people say, I want to eat something different every single day. Well, let me show you once this is completely full and then you can imagine 7 times that. That's what your shopping is going to look like if you try to eat a different food every single day. Just keep that in mind. When it comes to the snack, so we did a Chobani Fit that we programmed in. This is where, let's say for example, I'm going to get it because it's here. The flavor doesn't really matter and it is on special, so I'm going to get these. But what you can do, let's say for example, you came and I don't know, you had a YoPro in the plan, or they're also on special. This is where you could just swap it out. So like for example, you have a YoPro in your plan or you have a Chobani Fit, but one of them's on special or you can't get the other one, just flip around. This is 89 calories. This one's 94 calories. Honestly, 5-6 calories difference. It's not going to make a big difference to your progress or your overall calories. So you could just swap those out. And you can do that with like flavors, different ingredients. For example, we're going to get blueberries. If they don't have those, I can get strawberries. I can get mixed berries. It's not a massive deal. You can make those simple swaps, but just double check the back and you'll be sweet. With the sauces, we've got barbecue on the pizza programmed in and we've got Peronaise on the lunch programmed in. So what we can do, but again, what you can do if you just start to learn the basics of calories, which when you're following a meal plan, you will start learning it really quickly. You can, and me and Cameron Cooks like to do this all the time, especially when there's a new sauce out like this one, the Master Foods Hot Honey. If you like spicy food or even, it's not too spicy, a little bit, this is insanely good and the calories are so good. So what you can do is I've already got this one at home, but that's programmed in. And then some lunches or even on the dinner, on the pizza, I've been using this instead of barbecue. Insane. So this is like 50 kilojoules per serve, which is like 12 calories, something like that. 20 grams is going to be like 20 to 25 calories, which is less than that. So you can just make those simple swaps and it does make, in my opinion, does make the meals taste different and it gives a little bit more variety without having to buy like 10 different ingredients for a whole separate meal.
Programming in a sauce that's more dense and then getting one that's like, swapping it out for a small one and then you can have more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do that. That's so true. I actually do that. So sometimes I'll program in like Peronaise, 15-20 grams, knowing it's more calories. And then if I get a lower one, I'm like, sweet, I can use a bit more, or I'm like saving calories or whatever. Number 4 on the hierarchy is training. Now, because we want to drop the 10 kilos mainly through body fat or however much weight you're aiming to lose, yours might be less, it might be more. We want to drop it through body fat and not just weight on the scale. So training becomes super important. We've already nailed the calories. We've nailed the protein target, which is also going to help this goal to lose it through body fat and not just weight. And then we've nailed the consistency. So we need those things. Now we're going to add in training. So what I would personally do is I'd go 3, well, that is a terrible 3. What is that? 4, 5. Now, if you can only train 2 times a week, that's totally fine. If you want to train more than 5, you can go 6. I personally wouldn't train 7 days a week. I think you need at least 1 rest day to let your body recover. You can still do something on that day, but don't train hard. Now, in terms of the training we're actually going to be doing, probably should have started with that. We want to be doing weight training, aka resistance training, because that is what's going to help us lose that weight through body fat. We're going to hold on to the muscle we have, and ideally, depending on where you're at in your journey, more than likely going to be able to build some muscle at the same time, which is pretty damn cool. If I was only to do weights, if you're only going to do weights training, I would go 4 or 5 times per week. And what I would be following if I was doing 4, we're going to actually talk about how you're going to train now, the actual program you're going to follow. So I would follow something, hopefully you can read my shitty writing, like an upper lower program. So that'd be upper lower and then probably a rest day, and then upper lower and then 2 rest days. Or you can spread out your rest days however you like, but I would have at least 1 after 2 days in a row if you can, to space out evenly. So upper lower, upper lower. If I was doing 5 days a week, I might go upper, lower, lower, full body, or shoulders and arms, or whatever muscle group you want to work on the most. So maybe if you want to really work on your legs, maybe build that peach, then you could throw another leg day on there. So you go upper, lower, lower, lower. You just have to flip it. So start with lower, upper, lower. I feel like that sounds really confusing, doesn't it? But anyway, this is my program. So we're going to go upper, lower, and then I'm going to hit A. I'm going to write S and A. So shoulders and arms, because I mean, you can never have big enough shoulders and arms. So that's what I'd be following. There's tons of different splits you can follow here. One of my other favorites for this, I'm just going to give a couple more, is push, pull, legs, upper, lower. Either of these programs here, you're going to hit each muscle group twice per week. Now, if you're going to do 3 times, you would go 3 times full body, or you could do a push, a pull, and a legs. Now, if you do that, you're only going to hit each muscle group once per week. Not as good as hitting every muscle group twice per week, but honestly, if you train harder, I don't think it'll make a massive difference. Or you can do, some of our clients love this one, upper, lower, full body. With that split, upper, lower, full body 3 times a week, you're going to hit most muscle groups twice per week, so you'll be absolutely sweet with that. Now, what I personally do, and this is just because I love sports and I love my MMA training, so this is exactly what I'm doing now and what I'd keep doing if I wanted to lose this 10 kilos that I gained overnight. I'd be training 5 times a week, but I would be doing 3 weights and I'd be doing 2 MMA, or if you play a sport, or if you want to play a sport, if you want to get into some type of cardio, I'd be doing 2 of those. So 3 weights, 2 MMA. On the odd week, if I feel really good and everything's going well, I'd even throw in a 3rd MMA session. So I'd be training 6 times a week and then only resting once. Now, this is on the you already love training type of side. You've got the time to do it. You really enjoy it. If you don't, that's totally fine. You go to the 3, or even like I said, the 2. And if you're super busy and you just really don't have time, 2 full body workouts per week, you're going to get 80% of the results as you would doing something like this, maybe even 90. So don't stress if you can't train like 3, 4, or 5 times per week. So now we have the basis of the training. How many exercises should you be doing? How many sets? All that type of stuff. Like I always say, no need to overcomplicate it. We need to keep it nice and simple so it's enjoyable and sustainable. Remember, consistency comes before training on the hierarchy, because if we're not consistent with our nutrition, doesn't matter what we do, doesn't matter how hard we train, the weight and the body fat is not going to come off. But you're nailing the consistency now. So with the training, you're going to pick one of these, or you're going to train a couple times a week, follow something and just stick with it consistently ongoing. Now, in terms of the exercises and the sets and the reps and all that type of stuff. So exercises, we're going to do 5 to 6 exercises. I'm just going to write EX per workout. Should have kept it all capitals. That looks terrible. Anyway, 5 to 6 exercises per workout. You can drop that down to 4 if you want to, especially if you're training 5 times a week, you can get away with doing 4. I think 5 to 6 is the sweet spot for most people. That is probably going to take you 45 to 70 minutes, depending on the exercises you choose, how hard you train, how long you need to rest, and of course, basically just, yeah, how, I guess, slow you go, but that's how long you need to rest. Same. Anyways, moving on. Oh, I used the wrong color. Idiot. I was meant to write it in blue, make it look all cool and shit, but whatever. Rookie. So 5 to 6 exercises per workout. Now, per exercise, personally, 2 to 3 sets. I personally think that is all you need. I don't think you need to do more than that. Of course you can. It's no big deal. But the harder you're training, generally, like the less sets you're going to need. So if you're putting in a lot of effort to those each working set, you're only going to need like 2 to 3. Now, go 3 if you're a beginner. If you're getting a bit more advanced, you can go 2 on the compounds and 3 on the isolation. Hopefully, we're not getting a little too technical here. Cameraman Cook's getting too technical here. It's all good. And then the reps, which I'm going to explain in a minute. So again, this is generalized. There's no like perfect formula. This doesn't mean you can't go lower. Doesn't mean you can't go more. You can. This is just a really good guide to get started. So for the compound movements, so I'm just going to put a C equals, we're going to go 6 to 10 reps, roughly speaking, per exercise. Maybe 6 to 12, but we'll go 6 to 10. Think of your compound movements. That just means a multi-joint movement. So more than one muscle group working at the same time. Think of things like pressing, whether it's chest, shoulders, etc. You're going to be working, if we're doing like a bench press, you're going to be working your chest, a bit of the front of your shoulder, a bit of your triceps. If you're doing pulling movements like pull-ups and rows, you're going to be working your back and your arms, your buys, even some forearms. For legs, think of your squatting movements, your like leg presses, your lunges, your split squats, all that type of stuff. You're going to be hitting multiple muscles in your leg at the same time. We're going to keep those around 6 to 10. You're generally going to go a little bit heavier on those. Then I is for isolation. This is one muscle group working at a time. So think of a bicep curl, a tricep push down, a calf raise, that type of stuff. Again, you can go low reps on these as well, but I personally prefer to stick more like 8 to 15 reps with those. I feel like that's a good range. And then the reason for that as well is just because it steers on the side of caution in terms of injury prevention, because especially if you're newer, the more advanced, and you can play around with this a bit, but even then, think of something like a incline dumbbell curl, right, for your biceps. Your bicep is the only muscle group working. If you're gonna do lower than 8 reps on that, so say 4 reps, 5 reps, 6 reps, you can, it doesn't mean you can't, but the weight you're gonna have to use to like fail around that rep range is gonna be pretty damn heavy. So it's just gonna put like your tendons and stuff under a little bit more stress. I'm not saying you can't do it, you absolutely can. Personally, I just think it feels better when you go on like 8 and above. Also because form breakdown is massive. So once you start to go heavier, especially for beginners, it's a lot harder to keep good form as the weight gets heavier. So especially think of something like a dumbbell lateral raise, right? When you bring the dumbbells out to the side here. Imagine grabbing a weight that's heavy enough to fail around like 6 reps with those. It's very, very hard not to just like start swinging, not to like start using your traps and all that type of stuff. So form breakdown. Anyway, there you have it. Good to go with the training. So you're gonna go 3, 4, 5 days a week, 2 if you need to, 5 to 6 exercises per workout, 2 to 3 sets of each exercise, 6 to 10 reps. If you wanna make it super simple, 6 to 15 reps on any of the exercises and you'll be good to go. Or 8 to 15 if you wanna play it safe. Number 5 on the hierarchy is steps. The reason why steps is so helpful and beneficial is because number 1, it's very easy to fit into your routine without disrupting it and adding a lot more time to your day, which is super important. Second is it's gonna help you burn more calories throughout the days, weeks, and months, which is gonna either push you further into the deficit or it's gonna allow you to eat more food whilst losing the same amount of body fat. If you're currently doing, say, 8,000 steps a day or more, I probably wouldn't add any more just yet, unless you have a lot of free time throughout your day and you're thinking, yeah, I already do like 8, 9, 10, whatever, I could definitely add some more, then that's cool, you can. If you're already doing 8K plus and you feel like you're quite busy, maybe you don't have enough time to do it, I wouldn't add more just yet. I would keep that where it is. I would dial in everything else we've been talking about and that would be totally fine. If you're doing under, say, 8K, I would try to increase your daily steps by 1 to 3,000 a day, depending on how much time and stuff you have and depending on how I guess, intent you want to start with. So let's say you're currently doing about 5,000 steps per day. Let's try to increase them to 6,000 or 7,000 steps. And we can do this by trying to squeeze it into our day without adding too much time. So the reason why I'm standing in this room like an absolute weirdo is because this is my home office, this is where I work. So as you can see right now, I'm not walking because cameraman cooks would hate the sound, but if we weren't filming, I would be walking on this little step pad I got here whilst I'm just standing here working at my desk like this, working away, just be cruising along. Got the little remote, can change the speed. Honestly, you can rack up so many steps doing this, but I generally, if I'm a bit low on steps for the day, if I've been sitting a lot, I'll chuck this on for like 30 minutes, maybe 40. I won't even realize, I'll just be working, I'll check my watch, boom, I'll just add 4,000 steps. If you work from home, literally the best thing to get. Even if you don't work from home, like Cameraman Cooks was suggesting earlier, if you and your partner are watching Netflix or just chilling or something, you could just set it up in your living room and get some steps in while you're watching some TV. So it's not actually adding any extra time to your day. And that is the key, because a lot of the time with traditional cardio, and you'll see this is why we didn't put traditional cardio into the hierarchy, is because number one, it's not needed, but number two, most people struggle with that if they don't love doing it, because it's like, oh, I've got to go to the gym and get on a treadmill. That's so boring. Or got to go to the gym and do a Stairmaster, or I have to go out and do some type of cardio and I already don't have time to do that. Use the time for your training, your weights, and then you can get the steps in like this. When you're taking phone calls, just pace around the office or outside or whatever, park further away, take the stairs. All those simple little things do add up and make a massive difference as well. And then when you do go to the gym, if you have, an extra 10 minutes at the gym or whatever, use that. Jump on the treadmill first thing when you get there, rack in 10 minutes will get you 1,000 steps, roughly speaking. So you could use that as a little warmer, plus you get 1,000 steps in. So we just want to basically combine as many things as we can to help get that 10 kilos or more, or whatever amount of weight you're trying to lose off. Number 6 on the hierarchy, food volume / choices. As you saw by the shop we did this morning, honestly, in this meal plan, more like 90-95% of the foods are nutrient dense, high volume, and there's a lot of fiber in there. So that's where food volume and choices come into play, because yes, we've done the calories first, we've done the protein, two most important things, and you have to follow the hierarchy in this order as well. If you jump ahead, it doesn't work, because we can eat as healthy as we want, we can eat as many nutrients as we want, but if we're eating too many calories, we're not going to lose that weight. And if we're not hitting our protein target, we're not going to build and maintain any muscle. So it's never going to work. That's why it has to go in this order. Anyways, if you make good food choices and you make your meals check all these boxes, you're going to stay fuller for longer, and you're going to hit all your micronutrient needs as well. So, all your vitamins, your minerals, you're going to get a lot of fiber, all that type of stuff. So for example, the breakfast that we made basically ticks all the boxes. Now, let me just run you through real quick. So our 5 check boxes for a meal would be be, if it can hit all of these, perfect. If it can hit at least most, you're good to go. So when you're thinking food volume and choices, we like to think through simple, quick to make, good macros, high volume, and of course, it's got to taste bomb. So this meal right here, for example, the blueberry and peanut butter protein oats, ticks all those boxes. It literally takes 3 minutes to make. Super simple, like cannot get easier. If you've watched any of my other vids before, you've probably seen this a bunch. But anyway, we dumped oats in there, throw some water in it. I'm gonna microwave it for 3 minutes. We're gonna add our toppings and that is it, done. And it tastes absolutely insane. It's got low calorie to high proteins. It's got a good macro ratio and it's got a good amount of fiber from the oats and the blueberries. It's got whey protein, which is one of the best protein sources that you can get, especially for building muscle because it has all the essential amino acids. And we've got healthy fats through the peanut butter. So ticking all the boxes there. And this meal is super filling and yeah, like I said, tastes bomb. So, Caveman Cooks, give them the nod of approval. That is number 6. Number 7 on the hierarchy is lifestyle. We've just bundled all this into one: sleep, stress, routine, etc. Honestly, this is just the icing on the cake and it just makes everything we went over today that much easier. With this, like everything else, you just want to keep it super simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to, what I call, optimize absolutely everything because you're probably going to hate it. It's going to be very hard to stick to. Just try to nail some simple basics. And honestly, with this stuff, just do the best that you can. I've jotted down a couple of personal things that I do, and this is if I do this now, and if I wanted to drop 10 kilos because I gained it overnight, this is exactly what I would do. So hopefully these ones help you as well. So first of all, I have bedtime and wake up time. This helps with sleep and routine, and those two things together help stick to plans. They make everything easier, they improve your recovery, all that type of stuff. And I personally find that's like the easiest thing to do for myself. So going to bed at a similar time, waking up at a similar time. I just personally enjoy it and I feel way better when I do that. My energy is very consistent throughout the days and weeks. My recovery is consistent and my mood and all that stuff is really good. So that's a very simple one you can do. Another simple one I do, I'm gonna be honest, I don't do this all the time. Like I said, doesn't have to be perfect, but I try to do no phone for the first and the last hour of the day. And I personally find this just helps with stress management and sleep, especially for me, because I have a team of 15 coaches now, plus cameraman cooks. Having cameraman cooks on WhatsApp is like, you're gonna be getting message all the time. No, I'm joking. Plus Brit, so we have 17, 18 people, including myself. So for me, just trying to not go on my phone a little bit before bed, maybe half hour, and first thing in the morning as well, just helps me wind down and it helps me start the day in like a positive step rather than opening my phone and being like, holy fuck, there's 49 messages I gotta get back to ASAP. So that just works for me, but you might not need to do that. The next one, again for myself, you might not need this one. This is probably the one that I do the least, is stop working a couple of hours before bed. I try to do that, but again, it's just to help you wind down, and so I'm not going to bed like thinking about all the stuff I gotta do tomorrow and that type of jazz. So, and honestly, that's really it. I also take a water bottle with me. Oh, what was that? A water bottle? Take a water bottle? I usually try to have a water bottle with me, and that just helps keep me hydrated because that's going to help training performance and just overall how you feel as well. And then I just would also take creatine, and I'm going to be honest, I have been forgetting to do that way more than I would like to admit recently, but I need to pull my finger out. Creatine will just help with your training and performance, but again, it's not going to make a difference if you're not doing anything else. That's about it. Live as stress-free as you can, but it's not always easy to do. That's why this is last, and that's why we built everything else first. And as you can see, when we're going throughout the day and we're showing you keep the meals nice and simple, tick those check boxes if you can, that all makes this stuff easier. Because if you have, you can't see Big Zeus, but if you have dog, if you have kids, if you have a stressful job, or even if you don't have a stressful job but you've got all that other stuff going on, to try and throw like the most optimized diet and everything on top of that, like it's just not going to work. And even if you can get it to work for a little bit, you're probably not going to want to stick to it long term because it's not going to be super enjoyable for you. But anyways, that is honestly it. If I hit a plateau on this journey to get the 10 kilos off as fast as I can without hating my life, I would either increase my daily steps by 1 to 2,000 or decrease my calories by roughly 10%. Personally, I would drop my calories by about 10%. So because I'm starting around that 2,200, I would drop them by like 200, I would go down to 2,000. And that's what I'll do in order to break the plateau. That's literally it, nothing else. You don't need to do anything crazy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Remember, like I said, follow your calories and macros. Feel free to use my calculator. If you don't want to, just Google TDE calculator. There's a bunch online that will also work pretty well and you're good to go. Hopefully that video was helpful. We'll chuck the protein video here for you. And by the way, in the description, if you ever want help with this from myself and my team, hit the link, apply. See you in the next one.